Hey guys, it's Nis here, back with another video. Not 3 years later this time. I know, baby steps, right? And today's video is going to be about dealing with burnout and stress and tips that I feel like you can use to kind of help yourself get out of the funk if you're feeling this way. Now, first, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm drawing here and the idea behind it. So the idea is that my prompt was broom for my Witchtober, Inktober prompt for this day. So I drew Jenny riding her broom playing Quidditch. It's something that I never really tried to draw before, and this Inktober for me has been all about trying new things, so I figured I would challenge myself a little. And the drawing itself is done with a ballpoint pen and then my Winsor & Newton watercolors. And in the end, I'll talk a little bit more about the process, but first I want to really focus on the main topic at hand. So before I get into dealing with burnout and stress, I want to talk a little bit about Inktober and what it is in case someone stumbled across this video and they have no idea what it is. First off, Inktober is a 31-day challenge that was created by a man called Jake Parker. The goal was for him to have a way to improve his inking skills, and he created it in 2009. And it was funny because a few weeks ago I was watching one of his videos where he talks about his thought processes behind it, and he actually had made the challenge and put it on his blog, and he was totally bluffing about it being a thing so people would actually hold him accountable and he would have a reason to do a drawing every day for 31 days. And I really admire the guy for that. I think it takes the whole saying, fake it until you make it, to a whole new level. And that's very admirable. There isn't really any rules to Inktober. I mean, you could technically count the inking the drawing every day for 31 days as a rule, but Jake Parker himself has came out and said that if you would rather do digital or do whatever medium you want, that's fine. The most important thing is challenging yourself for 31 days and just improving yourself and learning. So just pretty much the main focus is learning on the challenge. So the materials isn't what's important. Now, those of you who know about what Inktober is are probably thinking, why are you going over this? We know what it is, but I feel like it was very important to go over the basis of what it is before I get into dealing with the stress and burnout from it, because I feel like that's really important, just remembering where it came from. Now, about the middle of the month or the end, which is where we're closer at now, you start to feel stressed about putting a drawing out. It's starting to get harder and it's sluggish, and you're not quite at the point where you see the finish line, and your quality in your drawings, you might feel like they're dropping, or maybe you're just not wanting to draw at all because you're just exhausted. Well, I think the first thing you need to remember is to take a deep breath. It's okay if you miss a day or two. No one's gonna judge you. And I mean, yes, this is a challenge, but it really honestly shouldn't affect your mental health. You are important, and you're not going to learn and challenge yourself if you're making yourself sick. So please take a break. Some things that I do whenever I'm feeling like this, and I actually had to do this last week for my Raven drawing because I was getting so stressed out to the point where I couldn't think and I couldn't focus, and all I could think about was Inktober and getting drawings out, and my fiance had to sit me down and I had to take a break and focus on something else. So what I did is, I'm a big Miraculous fan, so that's what I did. I watched a few episodes of Miraculous Ladybug. And now what you can do is you can watch maybe an episode of your favorite show, you could read a book. And I think that also taking a walk to clear your mind could be really good, especially like, even though this is a challenge and this is important, you don't want this to be all you focus on. Like, for a lot of people, this is their favorite month, and you just don't want to miss the things you love about the month just because you're doing a drawing challenge. The challenge will still be there whenever you get back to it, so please take a break. Now, say on the other spectrum, you've fallen behind and you're feeling extremely guilty. You're feeling like, what's the point of me even continuing the challenge? I'm already like 2, 3, or 5 days behind. Well, like I said, it's for fun and it's for challenging yourself. If you want to pick up wherever you were at, that's fine. But say you'd rather pick up with the prompt that's for today, go for it. Like, no one's going to judge you. Really, I think you're probably putting too much pressure on yourself, and then that's getting into your mind, and it's making it hard for you to put quality work out there. So I think you should just go for it and work on something and draw it. And I will say that this is actually my 4th Inktober doing myself, and I've never finished an Inktober up to this point. Hopefully I will finish this year. I'm already super ahead of where I was the years before, but each year is a new year, and you have to take how far you got the years before and apply it to the year that you're at now. And each year you learn a little more, and it's kind of like a marathon. You're able to go further and further each time. So just keep it in that mind that way, and then I feel like you won't feel as guilty or as hard on yourself. Because either way, the fact that you even tried is really awesome, and I don't think you should be putting yourself down over that. The next topic I really want to focus on is something that I have been struggling with so much lately, especially on my Instagram. Somehow, amazingly, over this last month, my Instagram has blown up for me. But with that, I feel pressure to put quality drawings up every single day. I feel pressure to make them look as good as the last, and honestly, that's just crazy to me thinking about that from an outside perspective, because while I might think a drawing looks terrible, someone else could look at that drawing and go, wow, that looks amazing. And I think the thing we have to realize is that the fact that we're putting forth content still out there and we're still caught up or we're still creating is what really matters. You don't want to get into your head too much, like I was saying before, because then you just won't create, and And whenever you're not creating, you're cheating yourself. You're not challenging yourself and you're not learning anything. Honestly, even if you create something and it's still bad, you're still learning something. You still did it, and that's what matters. And that is something I've had to really focus on and teach myself over this past month, because I'm notoriously bad for giving up on drawings halfway through because they look terrible. Now, I'm not saying you have to finish it if you're really not feeling it, or you can't like try again with another sketch or something. Honestly, it's up to you. It's your drawing. I'm just telling you guys what I think and what's helped me over the past month. Another thing that artists do a lot around challenges such as Inktober or even Mermaid is that whenever you see other artists that are putting out content and it's fully illustrated and it looks amazing, I tend to get jealous and a little bit of envious. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have felt that way in the past. But what took me a while to realize, and what I know now, is that, I mean, those artists are probably doing that full time, or they have better time management maybe than I do, or maybe most of us have. But that's most likely their livelihood and their job, and if they're not doing that, they're not making a living. And for a lot of us, we have work and we have school and we have other priorities we have to worry about, and it's really not realistic for us to compare ourselves to them. And a lot of those people have probably been where we're at too. So we just have to kind of look at it from their perspective, and we shouldn't judge them. And if you're feeling jealous, you shouldn't look at it as a, wow, I'll never be that good sort of thing. I mean, honestly, if you put forth the hard work, you'll be that good eventually. I mean, it might take several years, but you'll get there. So just don't stress too much over it, because you don't want to make yourself sick. Like I said, if you're making yourself sick mentally, you're really not learning anything and you're not challenging yourself. So those are my general thoughts on how I feel about Inktober and dealing with burnout. And a lot of it's been kind of based on what I've learned about myself over this last month. And I really do hope that it can kind of help some of you guys. I know that a lot of it's mostly rambling, and I hope you guys can forgive me for that. And I'm sure, like, in the future, maybe next year, the year after that, whenever I get better with making videos, I'll be able to remake it and make it a million times better. But for now, I still wanted to put my voice out there where you guys could hear it. And before I end the video, I do want to talk a little bit about the drawing again. Like I said, it's an image of Jenny and she's playing Quidditch. And I'm actually a huge fan of Harry Potter, so that's why whenever the broom prompt came up, I thought it would be perfect to do this instead of your typical witch on a broom. Because that's the generic thing, and that's what I probably would have done if I wouldn't have thought about it. And this was actually a difficult drawing for me to come up with a concept for. I remember I had to sketch out the idea the night before because I had no idea. I had no idea how to draw a witch riding a broom, much less a witch riding a broom athletically. So I had to look up like a ton of references on Pinterest. And then I had a lot of problems actually liking the way this drawing was turning out. In the process, like with the watercolors, I just thought it looked kind of muddy and I was getting frustrated and I wanted to quit and give up. And I talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, and I had to push myself to keep going forward. And then in the end, I decided I would add a background because it felt like the drawing was lacking. I was very scared to add the watercolor background because I was scared it would ruin the drawing. But honestly, I'm very thankful I did because I feel like it makes the drawing. Like without it, the drawing wouldn't look this good. And I'd been seeing a lot of people using the salt on wet watercolor technique, and I kind of wanted to try that out too, and I'd been wanting to try that out for a while, so that's why I did that here. In the end, I just went over it with my jelly roll pen, just added some basic highlights, not too much to that, and that's my basic thought process on there. I know I really need to improve on my watercolor skills, and that's something I'm hoping I can focus on after Inktober. It's something I actually really want to do. I've learned a lot from this Inktober so far, and I know that I can put forth what I've learned into my art full time, and that's honestly what I think Inktober is about. So I would really like to hear from you guys what y'all's thought process on how y'all's Inktober is going, like how maybe y'all are dealing with burnout, or if this video helped you, or if it didn't, or maybe I missed some topics. Just tell me, please. Feel free to leave it down in the comments, or you can talk to me maybe in messages, or you can message me on Instagram. My DMs are always open to anyone that wants to talk, and I'm NissaIllustrations on Instagram as well. But I just want to thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble and watching my video if you made it this far. Honestly, if you liked this video, give it a like. If you want to see more videos from me, subscribe. I'm going to try and be posting like once a week or like maybe every 2 weeks. I just want to try and stay active unlike I have before. I mean, there's so much thoughts I have in my head and I just want to get them out there. So thank you guys again for watching and have a great day. Bye!